It's time for Lefties Losing It, and let's have a little celebrity silliness, starting with alleged comic Chelsea Handler, who is urging her followers to boycott Amazon and other companies she says profit from ICE. But her team are still using Amazon, just not as much as they used to.
I can't say we never use it, but we have reduced our use a lot. All of the actions that we can take to make this a more healthy, loving country in this moment are worthwhile. I understand not everyone is in the same position I'm in, but we can all do things to make sure that these companies are not profiting off of ICE. I deleted Spotify. I downloaded Qobuz. That's my music app. You can get rid of Apple. You can get rid of Amazon. You can make sure that these companies actually feel an impact. I want people who are ethical. I want to express compassion. I want people to feel loved and safe in this country.
You know, Chelsea, people should feel safe in America, and most sane, rational folk do, because they don't go around attacking ICE agents. And the statistics show Americans are a lot safer today than they were before Trump's second term. In the past year, the murder rate has dropped dramatically, around 20%, the largest single-year drop recorded. Other serious crime categories are also down. You'd think Chelsea would be happy about that, but she is a miserable, awful, that's an affluent white female leftist, just like this next actress, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I stand with Minnesota. Enough is enough.
You know, we loved her as Elaine in Seinfeld and Selena Myers in Veep, but awful Julia is just awful. Now to today's hearings at the House Homeland Security Committee, and this is important to point out. A lot of people don't know this. Sanctuary cities are forcing ICE to operate in hostile environments instead of simply allowing them to go into prisons in sanctuary cities and take into custody illegal immigrants who have been convicted of crimes in America.
Is it true that you would rather send your officers into a jail to get some of these illegal alien criminals? Is it safer for your agents and also the illegal alien criminal if your officers are able to go into a jail instead of having to go out and find them on the street? Mr. Lyons, I'll start with you.
Yes, sir, it would be. You wouldn't see the amount of law enforcement officers involved in immigration operations.
Now, even CNN has pointed this fact out. Here is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey being asked why they have changed the rules that were abiding by under Democrat presidents.
It is worth noting that during the Obama years, the Hennepin County Jail actually had a policy where they let an ICE agent keep an office there and allowed them to talk to immigrants. So the policy has clearly been, under a Democratic president, what now the Trump administration is asking for. I mean, big picture, do you think it's good policy for the jails to follow an ICE detainer and hand someone over if they've committed a crime? And again, this only happens after they've served their time, for whatever crime they may have committed against the people of Minnesota.
I mean, look, you're asking all the right questions here. And while I don't have full expertise in how the operations at the jail are conducted, again, that's not our jurisdiction.
Utterly hopeless. He is either lying or inept. There are no other options at this point. Now back to today's hearings at the House Homeland Security Committee. And what should the acting ICE director absolutely school Eric Fang Swalwell?
Mr. Lyons, will you resign from ICE?
No, sir, I won't.
Why not?
Because, sir, that child that you're showing right there, the men and women of ICE took care of him when his father abandoned him and ran from law enforcement.
Time has expired.
You never should have gone into
Gentleman's time has expired.
But if you thought the Democrats had hit rock bottom with Eric there, well, have a look at what happens when they hit rock bottom and start digging. That's when you get a representative like LaMonica McIver asking questions like this, or should that be axing?
Let me ask you some questions that you may be able to answer. Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government...
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend.
Chairman?
A gentlelady will suspend.
Calling her a gentle lady is interesting. Last time I heard about La Monica. She was being indicted for allegedly assaulting DHS agents. Gentle lady indeed. Now, after that unhinged question, she was gently reminded of the standards she's expected to uphold. It did not go well.
Thank you.
While vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum and debate. The witnesses are here voluntarily, and I will continue to remind members that while oversight is important, aggressively attacking those witnesses personally is inappropriate and not in keeping with the traditions of our committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking a question. You guys are always talking about religion here in the Bible. I mean, it's okay for me to ask a question, right?
She's just asking questions, y'all. Let's bring in the center of the American Experiment president and co-founder of the popular Powerline blog, John Hinderaker. John, the Democrats are not sending their best. That question to the acting director of U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement, Todd Lyons, was appalling.
Well, as you said, Rita, it was completely unhinged. I suppose if you wanted to look on the bright side, you could say it's kind of nice to know there's a few Democrats left who still believe in heaven and hell. I didn't think there were any. But yeah, that was a completely appalling question that I'm sure has never been asked before in a congressional committee hearing. It's just absurd.
I was shocked, and it's hard to shock me now because I've been witnessing the squad's antics for several years and any sort of attention seeking you could expect from those ladies. But yeah, this is a new contender. Now let's stay with the increasingly radical Democrats. This is the minority leader of the Democrats in the Texas House, Gene Wu. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but he seems to be advocating for some sort of race war against white people.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided.
We have the ability to take over the country. John, what do you make of that sort of rhetoric?
Well, that kind of racism is really antithetical to the American ideal and to American history. And by the way, whites are still a clear majority in the United States. I'm not sure what he's talking about. And he's right to the extent that he says that the idea of a minority coalition is really a fantasy. If you look at the 2024 election, President Trump's best demographic was American Indians. His second best demographic was Asians, and he virtually tied with Kamala Harris with Hispanics. And so the good news, Rita, is that most minority voters in America are not falling for this kind of racist nonsense.
Well, that is an excellent point because Trump has been so successful in fracturing some of those voter blocks that the Democrats have almost taken for granted. They've just assumed if you're a minority, if you're Hispanic, if you're of any sort of racial background that's a minority in America, you must vote for the Democrats. And Donald Trump has proved that's not the case, John.
And one of the reasons, Rita, is because Hispanics who are citizens really don't like illegal immigration. And that's been a very powerful issue, not on the Democrat side, but on the Republican side.
And Hispanics and many other migrant groups, John, are socially conservative. They are family orientated. They are very socially conservative. And with the Democrats getting increasingly radical, particularly with their trans agenda, it's very easy for the Republicans to appeal to those sorts of voters. John, let's turn our attention now to the latest revelations from the Epstein files. And newly released FBI documents show Donald Trump personally called the police chief in Palm Beach, Florida, back in 2006 to thank him for investigating Jeffrey Epstein and told him to focus on the disgraced financier's evil accomplice, evil being a quote there, Ghislaine Maxwell. ABC reports the former Palm Beach police chief who investigated Jeffrey Epstein told the FBI he had received a call from Donald Trump in 2006 saying, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." And John, we are talking about a period here before Epstein was charged and convicted.
Yeah, that quote is from an interview in 2019 that the Palm Beach chief of police related to an FBI agent when the FBI was investigating Epstein, and credited Donald Trump with having called him in 2006, very early in this whole story, saying, well, thank goodness you're going after this guy, and you should go after Ghislaine Maxwell. You know, she's evil. I think the point we don't want to lose sight of, though, Rita, is that we know that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump. The Democrats continue this futile effort to smear Donald Trump by associating him with Epstein. Well, there was an association in the sense that he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago as a guest. And Epstein hated Trump to the point where he was on the phone talking to a Democratic congressperson during a hearing, giving advice on how to attack the Trump administration. I mean, this whole Epstein thing is a complete non-starter for the Democrats.
But so many have this false perception that it's Donald Trump that's all over the Epstein files, not members of the Democrat Party or a former president there who appears multiple times. And this latest revelation really should not come as a shock, given author Michael Wolff, Trump-hating author Michael Wolff, said some time ago that Jeffrey Epstein believed Trump was the one who had first alerted authorities to his antics. Have a listen.
At that point, Epstein's legal problems began. The police began to investigate him over allegations that he was, that there were underage women coming to his house. Epstein believed that it was Trump who first informed the police about what was going on at Epstein's house. And from that point on, they were nothing but bitter enemies.
And this is what he's telling you. This is one of the instances of what he's telling you. That,
yes.
That
so,
the following
yes,
happened.
That is the version of this related by Epstein.
And Michael Wolff is no friend of Donald Trump, is he, John?
No, he's not. But what he said there is exactly what we see in these Epstein files. Trump is mentioned in them, and the Democrats keep saying, oh, yeah, Trump is mentioned. Yeah, he's mentioned because Epstein hates him and attacks him in these email exchanges.
Yeah, and there's several emails where they're plotting to get him to try to just destroy his political campaign. There are a lot of emails like that, and everyone is free to read them. So I would encourage people who are interested in this to actually read the source material rather than listening to some of the media commentary. Now, John, we've got some terrible news out of Hong Kong. Jimmy Lai, the media tycoon, pro-democracy campaigner, has been jailed for 20 years for allegedly colluding with foreign forces under these controversial national security laws. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has expressed his dismay at the sentence, writing, "The sentencing of Jimmy Lai in Hong Kong is an unjust and tragic conclusion to this case. We urge the authorities to grant Mr. Lai humanitarian parole." Will President Trump raise this issue with Beijing directly, John?
Well, I sure hope so, Rita. Jimmy Lai is one of the heroes of our time. He easily could have gotten out of Hong Kong, but instead he stayed to lead the fight for freedom in that city. And what's happened to him, of course, is a disaster. He's like the Solzhenitsyn of our era. And I seriously hope that Trump will raise his issue at his case in a very serious way, but it's hard to say. There are so many important issues between the U.S. and China. I really don't know if that's going to be high on the agenda or not.
John Heinderrecker, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Rita.
Joining me now is political activist and commentator Drew Pavlou. Now let's go to the ABC, and they've had a comedy skit that they've put to air, if you can call it that. Let's have a look at it. Here is Tony Armstrong mocking progressive women, so-called allies. Have a look at this from his new show on the ABC called Always Was Tonight.
I'm just a huge fan.
Of what?
Aboriginals. Aboriginality. I'm an emerging ally, so I'm just here to listen and amplify. Racism is gross. Close the gap.
Okay, sure, Professor. You've said that the work of decolonisation has to begin with truth-telling. What exactly do you mean by that?
Oh my God, yes, that's so right. Like, how are we going to fix the problem if we won't even listen?
Drew, such brilliant wit there, such sharp insights. What is clear, though, is the disdain so many of these elite activist circles have for their white self-loathing allies.
Yeah, I wonder why. I truly wonder why the ABC have greenlit this show. I mean, it just seems to basically be an hour of sort of race grievance mongering by Tony Armstrong every week or something like that. It's very disturbing. And I think it's very sad that he displays that level of contempt for his own supporters. I hope that people see that and wake up, because, you know, these sort of so-called white allies that join in with the calls to abolish Australia and, burn down the colony, etc. They need to understand that they are basically joining into a movement that hates them. And you can see that the contempt that Tony Armstrong feels for his own supporters, like these progressive white women who really support the cause, he's taking the piss out of them. He views them with contempt. So why would you join this movement that just hates you? Like, I truly don't understand. This is why I personally left the left years ago, Rita, because I didn't want to march alongside people who just hated me so much because I was like a white man or whatever. Like, they communicated this constant contempt to me. And why would I want to join in with people who hate me? It's just, I don't hate myself. I like life. I like myself. So why would I join in with people who hate me and despise me?
You know what? Next time you're on, we're going to have to talk, take a deep dive into going from a leftist activist to someone who's now very much a conservative or on the centre-right of politics, because that's been a fascinating transformation, you could say, Drew. Now, before you go, I want to get your... well, you're not the only one, and a lot of people have gone through that journey. But I want to get your reaction to this video featuring Abby Chatfield and her boyfriend, Adam Hyde.
You know what's cooler than hate is love.
You're pieces of you're a stain on this country, you're scum.
It's simple.
Bacteria. Freaks.
Love is the best thing.
I love abortion. Don't tell me how to word it.
There is.
Just die. Just die.
I don't know why all of a sudden hating on is cool.
I think like most dudes are wankers.
And love is demonized. If you can't comprehend that, I actually worry for your brain capacity.
Because it's obvious you're not getting love if you're preaching this hate.
Americans, when are you going to do it? Why isn't it already done? Every day there's another happening. There's all these incels that are going, oh my God, so they go and do. You know what would actually make people respect you a little bit and make people want to you? Is if you did it. You get heaps of fan mail. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just do it.
Just do it. There you go. Just casually asking for lonely young men to kill the President of the United States so they will have attention from women. The same person, Drew, decrying the climate of hate online. It's fascinating, really.
Look, these are not healthy people. If you could watch that video for the past 30 seconds and conclude that Kelly Holliday and Abby Chatfield are healthy people, I don't know what to tell you. They don't look very happy. They feel, they're filled with hatred. They're filled with anger. They're filled with resentment. They hate half the country. They think anybody who has a different view to them is scum. Like, that's what they communicate themselves. And Abby Chatfield is out there literally calling for violence. She's calling for people to go out and murder the President of the United States, our closest ally, a democratically elected president. So I hope that will impact her ability to travel to the United States in the future. And I also hope that Australian authorities are investigating her, because this is literally a call for violence. I don't think you can go out there and just call for people to go out and kill people and get away with it. I don't understand what's happening in this country, Rita, where, conservatives are so scared. We are so worried to put a foot wrong in case, the Australian authorities are going to smash down the door and charge us with, hate speech offences. But people like Abby Chatfield, the far left, are just able to just openly call for mass murder and killings, and they just get away with it. It's just seen as normal. And they're still faded by the mainstream media. You know, they're given, you know, prime spots at these award ceremonies, and they walk the red carpet and people love them. But they're treated as mainstream. Like somebody like me is seen as fringe, and I'm not calling for violence, whereas Abby Chatfield, this, you know, major podcaster, she's out there calling for people to kill the democratically elected president of the United States, and apparently that's normal.
Yeah, I don't think she's called for mass murder, but she's certainly there in that clip, did call and very specifically even encourage so-called incels to target the US president, assassinate the US president. And that video got all sorts of, that got all sorts of media coverage. And yet I doubt there's been any sort of formal investigation by authorities anywhere. So you're right, there is certainly two-tier policing happening in Australia, and that's not part of a healthy system. Drew Pavlou, thank you so much for your time tonight.